What's up, YouTube? It's JMilionair here. Quick little review pickup slash comparison I just thought of. So, of course, the royal blue ones I guess retroed. It's like the third one I believe that retroed. And of course, I'll get into that. And then, of course, I got a pair which I have another video quick review of these. But these are the original Air Jordan 1s from 1985. So I was going to do a quick review of these, of course, and then get into a slight comparison about how close to the OGs they are. Of course, these are Breds and Royals, but you get the gist. These are just the OG red laces that came with the shoes. But first, let's get into these, push these aside. So, of course, on the Nike box, size 10, my size. Air Jordan 1 Retro OG, high OG, with the 55 blah blah number, and retail for $160. Sorry about these. Struck out in all the apps, all the raffles, all that jazz. Went by a Foot Locker because I guess after everybody picked up their pair, the pairs that weren't picked up, people can come by and I guess grab them. So I did that, and there were no pairs left. But I talked to the Foot Locker employee, and of course he had his pair. He didn't really want them, but he ended up getting them, and I just bought them off him. So I ended up getting them from Foot Locker, basically. So let's get into a quick review. A lot of people have reviews on these, and of course they are just Bred ones. They're really simple, but these are way different than the 2013 pair. And there is a lot of variances in whatever store you picked it up. And even if you pick the same store, different pair, they just are different because whatevs. So quick little description of it. Of course, all upper is a nice premium leather. Of course, it varies, like I said, from different shoes, but of course, back leather right here, top is kind of a thicker, but still soft plush leather all throughout the shoe. It's a lot softer than other ones you can see. It's still stiff because it has to have some structure, but the soft part of the shoe is the royal blue accents throughout the shoe. As you can see, just pushing on it, it crinkles. Really, really high quality tumbled leather. Even on the toe box, take the shoe insert a little bit out. So you see what I'm talking about. You push into that, it just crinkles. That's really good leather. Of course, people hate about creasing, but I don't really care about that because shoes are meant to be worn. But yeah, so basically that's the uppers. The nylon sock, or let's talk about sock. The nylon tongue, similar to the OGs, black in the front, white in the back. Basically OG status. One thing about the tongue on this, the air is right up on the stitching. Of course, you could pull it back. It's not quite, but leave it alone, it looks like way up on the stitching. And of course, over the tongue, the stitching kind of starts on top of the tongue versus behind, like the OGs, which I'll get into. Inside on these, white guts with the blue Nike Air. And of course, there is no size printed like the OGs, but there is a tag which has your stats, like recent retros. And of course, comes with black laces, and then on the other pair, it has a bag full of blue laces. And a lot of pairs, like I said, variants in the tumbled leather quality, different shape, different little things. Some people complain that some of the holes aren't punched out. The sizes of the punch out of the holes are different. This is another thing. A couple people got things that actually rolled up like a fruit roll up really neatly, and a bunch got these, which is wrapped in there, and some are actually even worse than this, but they're all legit. I mean, not all of them, but this is legit, and the pairs that come in different variances, they're still legit. It's just they might have gotten some different factories to make all of these shoes for the release, so they're all different, basically. One thing I did notice on my pair, the swoosh is tumbled, as you can see. Pretty good swoosh, tumbled leather, really good quality. On the other side of this one, it's pretty similar, tumbled leather, pretty good. On my right shoe, the outside, similar tumbled leather, not as much. But then you get to the other side, and damn, that shit is tumbled. Look at that. It's just not a bad thing. It's just different. I mean, this leather is butter, as you can see. It's really soft. So, tumbled leather on the check. One is the most tumbled out of all of the other checks, but no big deal, in my opinion. They're still gonna get worn. Like I said, quality's on point on these. Midsole is that white midsole like every other Jordan 1. Well, originals. And the bottom is, of course, that royal blue. So that is a quick little matchup of the Air Jordan royal blue 1's 2017 version, and they are slightly different than the 2013 version. I don't have those, but a lot of differences, of course, being the little thing right here on the originals is thin like this, and the 2013 is hella fat. Also, 2013 is a little shorter. The color was way off. It was more purple versus royal blue, and some other things. Of course, the quality of the leather is night and day. But okay, that's that portion of it. Let's get into a comparison of the OGs. I'll take a left shoe of the Bred and a right shoe of the Royal, and I'll get into a little bit of comparison. Of course, there is some things because these have been worn since they are 30-something years old. There's slight heel drag, but whatever. So right off the bat, the height on these, the OGs are actually a little bit shorter, which is, you know, surprising. The cut of leather is almost the same. The little tab right here, like I was mentioning, is a little bit bigger than the OGs, but it's similar. It's the closest it's been. Usually they're hella fat. They usually start way over here. Like I said, the leather's different. This black portion's super low usually, and these are pretty high, which is, they did a good job on that. Leather is not as good in certain spots. Like you can see the cut of the leather right here actually sticking out. This leather is similar, but just not as much. Really close though. Onto the actual swoosh. Let's get the other side right here. Right. The original swoosh is not even leather. It's a thick leather vinyl filling. You can see that. And of course these are leather. Onto the actual black part right here. It's stiff, but like I said, it has some structure. As to this, is really, really soft. As you can see, they're worn in. But it does have a rigid structure, but it's not as thick as these. Of course, these will wear in similar to that because these are worn a lot. Air Jordan, you can see the puncture is super ancient. You could tell like the way it was pressed in. Air Jordan no TM, and of course the Air Jordan still pressed in. Looks different, of course, and at TM. The originals don't have that because it came out no trademark. As you can see, the other black portions are starting to crack off, but they used to be similar to this. Actually, this wasn't even leather back in the day. It was some kind of like satin material, so that's one different thing. The structure of the shoe is pretty much the same. You can see a lot different the way the shape is though. So these are a lot higher with the red part versus the blue part. That doesn't really explain anything, but this part right here is a little bit different shape if you compare them. Of course, the front of the shoe, the tongue, like I was saying earlier, the Nike Air is stitched in there. The tongue feels a lot softer on the original. This is really stiff. Really stiff, you can hear it, just stiff versus this, it's really soft. Like I was saying earlier, let me get a little closer. This one, the writing starts like on the top, as opposed to this one, the writing is a little bit on the top and a little bit further back. And that's another thing that they changed in some of the OG Nike Air versions of these. The old ones were sewn in. I believe the 2001 and I'm not sure 2013 were sewn right here, whereas the original Jordans, it looped over. And some jargon on the back, and these were made in, I think, where is this? That's something about Korea, I believe. Made in the Republic of Korea. I don't know yet because I haven't looked, but I'm guessing China. Yeah, these are made in China. Of course, as you can see, the explanation of what it's made out of and the greatest basketball shoe, blah, 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 the quality is a lot longer, a lot more to say. Patterns are different, the swoosh. And this one just has kind of the same thing, just a lot shorter and doesn't have the extra tag where it's made. It's right here. The one thing I was saying earlier, the inside is white, the white guts. That's something they're taking it back to because, as you can see, this is a white like nylon, super soft, and this is a white nylon, similar and supple, but not as soft. The tongue on this one is pretty thick, and the tongue on this one is a lot thinner. It's still soft, and the material is really soft. As you can see, it folds easily. This one, not so much. The previous pair of this one, the first retro I had, the 94s, the tongue is a lot thicker because it doesn't have as much structure. But this one's I'd say in between thickness. It's pretty thick, but it's not super thick. As the ankle portion, I'd say it's a lot thicker on the 2017's versus, but of course these are 30 years old. A lot of pairs you'll see actually crack. They'll crickle and crackle right here because there's foam in there that dries up after time, but these are worn, so they tested time, or stand the test of time. The size thing I was saying, this has a size and a production code on the ankle. They did not do that on this. They actually just put it on the tag like all the recent retros. The liner itself is a lot different material. As you can see the holes in these versus a thicker material, tight knit. Similar but not the same. Overall shape of it overhead, like I said, it's a little thicker, but they did a really good job. It's the closest retro to the OG version that I've seen so far, and that means a lot. Of course, it doesn't look like the OGs, and it never will, but it's as close as it can get. Black laces on these, and like I said earlier, these are the original red laces. Let's see if we can focus on them. They're pretty beat because they are 30-something years old. And then these come with, of course, the blue laces, which doesn't even really match 100% the leather, but whatever. Probably not going to swap them out, keep the black one in there anyways. So that's one pickup that I had. Luckily, I got really lucky on this pair because I talked to some dude I knew in Foot Locker, and he hooked me up with his pair on the spot and got lucky. So I know a lot of people struck out on these. A lot of people were mad, and a lot of people actually cooked. So it's like 50-50 chance. Either you got a lot of pairs and won a lot of raffles, or got through in the sneaker app, or you basically got SOL and didn't get anything. They did restock, or not necessarily a restock, where they did some stuff on eBay where it showed up. And if you follow forums like Nike Talk, basically a lot of people got through on that, called in, because that's the old school way of doing eBay. They actually only used to do phone orders. So people called in and actually ordered them and actually got them in. They haven't got the pairs in yet because they just got charged and confirmation, but still going to keep, you know, updates on if that actually worked. Today, the whatever day it is Wednesday, Champs actually went on their website and they went on there. I tried to call through and get through there, but they weren't having it and they quickly removed it from the site. Don't know why they went up, but hey, I gave it another try. I wouldn't mind having 2 of these. Didn't work though. But yeah, let me know if you got a pair of these, if you like the 2013 version better than this version, because some people do. I don't know why they would, but of course, if you do, comment and let me know why. If you passed on these because you're not feeling them, or you rather have the Breds, or let's just, you know, just comment in the section what your situation happened with these, because it was pretty much a hype release, and I've been waiting for these for a long time, so I'm glad I actually got a pair. I actually got my girl a couple pairs in her size, the GS sizes, so when those come in, I'll do a comparison of these versus those, because before this version, all GS pairs, and that still goes with a lot of Jordans, they are like a kid version. As you know, the 11s have carbon fiber on them, but the little kid versions don't have carbon fiber, they're just dots. So this year, they said it's going to be the first year that the GS versions actually have the mastered quality. So when they come in, one from Nike and another from another seller I got, so we'll compare both of those, as well as compare the men's size to the GS size, and see if they actually kept, you know, true to what they were going to say about them remastered. But yeah, comment, rate, subscribe, and let me know what happened to you when these Royal One release. All right, peace.